Don't let one bad leg haunt your parlay. Parlays turn into payouts, and now even near misses won't haunt your bet. The NFL season is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is rewriting the rules with Ghost Leg, a new game-changing promotion that turns close calls into cold, hard cash. Best of all, it's available to all DraftKings customers. Here's how it works. Build any 3+ leg pregame NFL parlay on Sunday, apply your Ghost Leg token, and if one leg loses, DraftKings makes it vanish like it never existed and pays you out in cash for the rest. Last season, over 30 million parlays were lost by a single leg. This year, Ghost Leg gives those busted bets a second life. No more busted parlays that haunt you all season. With Ghost Leg, the bad leg vanishes. The payout doesn't. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PFF. That's code PFF to unlock Ghost Leg, the promotion that makes one bad leg disappear and pays you out in real cash. Ghost your losses, get your payout in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, next up is another pretty good upset we had. Mississippi State beating number 12 Arizona State 24-20 in Starkville. Let's go over the highest graded player, starting off with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Their highest graded player was defensive tackle Calvin Dinkins, 82.3. Offensive tackle Albert Reese IV with an 80.4 grade. Cornerback Kelly Jones, 75.1. Wide receiver Brennan Thompson, 70.1. Fluff Bothwell, the running back, 69.8. And Blake Shapen with a 72.5 grade in the victory. Let's go over to Arizona State with their highest graded players in the loss for the Sun Devils. Offensive tackle Josh Atkins, 74.8. Jordan Tyson, 73.3. Clayton Smith, the edge rusher, 72.7. Keyshawn Elliott, the linebacker, 72.1. Keith Abney, the second, the cornerback, 71.9. And Sam Levitt with a 51.3 grade in the loss. Don, for you, the stats told story of this upset.
So a big one for me, Arizona State, 3 for 14 on third down. When they had to have it, even when the game was tight and they had taken a lead in this game 20-17, even the 3rd and 1 down on the goal line where they just got under center and ran it 3 times and still didn't get it. Credit Mississippi State's defense in those situations, but Arizona State lost this game a lot on third down. 3 for 14. Sam Levitt, and he was not good at all in this game overall, but on third down, 2 for 8, 18 yards, an interception, 43.5 passing grade. And the entire team, they had a sub-50 grade as a team on third down in this game. Mississippi State, they won in big moments. And I think overall, for me, that's just one stat of many. And when I watched Arizona State's first game, and I'd been hearing recently Kenny Dillingham's comments about some of their practices and some of the effort level and just not being inspired in practice, I understood the concern. Remember when, on the surface, we were like, man, they're only favored by, 6 or 7 in this game, and Mississippi State wasn't good last year. I understood the concern because I could just watching their offensive effort even last week against, was it Northern Arizona? It just wasn't right.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And even in this game, eventually they ran for 250 yards, which is obviously good. They ran for 350 on Mississippi State last year. If you told me they were running for 250 in this game, I figured they'd win. But their passing game, their offense, the entire structure of it is just gone from what it was last year. And I know so much of it, and you're going to mention it. It was so based around Cam Scatterbu, right? He was the engine, the heart and soul of the entire team. I get it. But it's not like they're not running the ball well. There's just something's not right. And you hate to get these flashbacks to their rival in Arizona last year. And I had more faith in this team because I thought the defense was better, and they kept their coach. Arizona last year got a new coach, and it messed with all of it. But this looks like that same offense where it was Fafita and McMillan, and maybe they run the ball, maybe they won't, probably not. But even then, Arizona State can. And there's just no... It just doesn't look right. Nothing about this offense looks right. And even when they're trailing or even tied in this game, like that last drive, all of a sudden they just have to get under center and hand the ball off with 2 tight ends on. They don't do that. Arizona State doesn't do that. The entire structure of their offense right now, it's just gone. and it looks like a mess, and Sam Leavitt looks like a mess. So this is dangerous territory for Arizona State. Their next 4 games are TCU, Baylor, Utah, and Texas Tech. That right now might be the 4 best teams. Baylor needs some help on defense, but that might be something close to the 4 best teams in the Big 12 by the end of it. And they got to play them the next 4 weeks. I don't know what Arizona State's going to do about this offense.
Yeah,
they need to figure it out fast. Maybe this is the wake up call, and it's not a Big 12 game, so you can bounce back and figure it out. But the offense looks like a mess, and Sam Leavitt does not look like the same guy right now. He looks just like he tries to do everything out of structure right now.
They had 14 receiving yards outside of Jordan Tyson in this game. I mentioned in the preview they need to find something else. And I know their number 2 receiver, Jalen Moss, has not played each of the first 2 games yet, the Fresno State transfer. So when he gets back from an injury, that should help out this offense a lot. But as of right now, Jordan Tyson is the only threat in the passing game for this offense. They run the ball pretty well, right? But you cannot just have Jordan Tyson make up all but 14 receiving yards in this one for you. It's just so predictable. And like Dalton just said, it's reminiscent of Arizona last year, where it was, okay, you have Tedder McMillan, sure. What else do you got? Now, at least Arizona State has a running game, because Arizona didn't have a running game last year. But outside of Malik Brown and Kanye Udo, they had over 100 rushing yards. Yeah, it was great for them. But outside of that, it was Jordan Tyson. It was nobody else in that passing game for Sam Leavitt. So far on the season, Jordan Tyson has now 62% of Sam Leavitt's passing yards. That is way too many. I know Jordan Tyson's a great player. He's probably going to be a first-round pick in the draft. That is way too much for one player to be accounting for in your passing game. He had 68 of Leavitt's 82 yards total in the game, too. Again, Jalen Moss has to come back from his injury. They need him back to come back from the injury because they have nothing else in the receiving core right now, and he probably will be the number 2 receiver when he gets back from his injury. Leavitt overall only had a 36.9 passing grade in this loss. That's about 20 points lower than anything that he had last year, too. So Arizona State, it feels a little like Arizona, at least in the passing game, where it's, okay, you have one great receiver, absolutely, a guy who could be winning a Blitnikoff Award this year. But outside of that, you got nothing else right now. And when Jalen Moss comes back, it'll help. But as of right now, it is worrisome in that Arizona State passing game.
And somebody's got to have a long, hard conversation with Sam Leavitt, because the decision-making is just a mess. This is not even the same guy we watch. You want proof? Last year, the entire season, right? 5 turnover-worthy plays.
Yeah.
He's got 4 through 2 games. And there's been some bad balls and some plays. He's bailing on clean pockets. This doesn't even look like the same guy as last year.
Well, they're relying on him now. It's different than last year.
It is.
They're actually relying on him.
It is, but even then last year, in the moments, like take even the Texas game, the playoff game, where he did have to carry them, it was fine. And you didn't see poor decisions and bad ball security. Right now, I don't know. He's trying to do this like Patrick Mahomes thing, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. They have to get back to running the fundamental parts of this offense, and this is another one. I think very much like Florida. This is a game, especially if you were thinking about an at-large, you couldn't lose this game. And their next 4, TCU, Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech. Even now, Mississippi State, we like them. They won a big game. They probably get ranked. We probably think all 4 of those teams are probably better than Mississippi State still. We'll see.
No,
Baylor's
I wouldn't say Baylor's
Baylor's a tougher one because their defense. But even then, I'd probably call it even. They can score.
TCU would be tough, too.
They're playing TCU won 9 games last year.
I know.
That's still
Mississippi State, I think, is a completely different team this year.
Might be, but this is still not a game they were sitting here expecting to lose.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have lost.
Arizona State, I don't know if the panic meter's at a 10, but it's at least like an 8.
It's
this
high.
Is not good.
It's very
And their
high.
next 4, either way, their next 4 games are tough. Really, really tough.
Let's give some credit to Mississippi State here. Who's the most impressive part?
Yeah, look, Blake Shapen coming back off the injury. Only played, 3-4 games last year. And he's always been a quarterback that, look, if you can keep him clean, he can do good things for you. That was the way it was at Baylor. He makes some shaky decisions under pressure, but in this game, he was clean enough. Arizona State didn't get enough of a pass rush, and when the shots were there to be taken, the game-winning touchdown to Brennan Thompson's a perfect example. He took it. Blake Shapen in a clean pocket in this game, 18-28, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 85.2 passing grade. He's a solid quarterback when he's healthy and he's just not under too much pressure. Mississippi State being able to protect him in this game allowed him to make throws. He had a good game against Arizona State last year. They just didn't run the ball enough to support it. They didn't really run the ball well in this game either. Only 81 rushing yards, I believe it was. And Shapen showed up when it matters. You just feel good for him because, you come to this program, new coach, they won 2 games last year. He suffered a season-ending injury before it really all got started for him. Really, he played in this game was the highlight of last year, even though they lost it close. Now he comes back, and he's got this. Him and Jeff Lebby have this team on at least some sort of upward trend. We'll see how the SEC schedule treats them, right? Because they're obviously not as bad as last year. But it's still a tough SEC schedule when you're playing all those teams. But clearly, Jeff Lebby and Blake Shapen have this thing going in the right direction. And yes, this will be his last year there, and he's a veteran guy who's been in college football for a long time. But you like to see him come in a game like this and play well and have a moment like that, especially at the end after losing most of his season last year to injury. Blake Shapen was really, really good in this game.
Absolutely. And Ryan Nelson in the chat saying he's a gamer. He's absolutely a gamer.
Absolutely.
That's a great call by Ryan Nelson in the chat right there. So, yes, Jeff Lebby, Blake Shapen are doing great. Coleman Hutzler, I want to shout out here, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State. So he was hired by Jeff Lebby, and his last year was his first year at Mississippi State as defensive coordinator. It was a disaster for Coleman Hutzler last year. He had a 55.3 defensive grade, lowest graded defense in the Power 4 last year, second lowest graded defense in all of college football last year. And yes, they added a boatload of transfers to that side of the ball, but also their starting lineup is largely comprised of guys who were on last year's team too. So they really improved. They just held an offense that has a potential first-round pick at quarterback and a potential first-round pick at wide receiver to 20 points in this game and only 4.5 yards per play. It was Sam Levitt's worst game, I'd argue, of his entire career so far. So far in the season for Mississippi State, negative 0.110 EPA per play. If that holds throughout the entire season, it will be their best since 2018 when the Bulldogs had a top 20 defense in all of college football. He deserves a lot of praise right now for at least through 2 weeks looking like he turned around that unit.
And you know what it is for me, and I could see a little bit of this in the Southern Miss game. Just it actually kind of reminds me of how we talked about Arizona State's defense last year, where it was
good call.
There's not one superstar player, right? There's a couple of top 5 guys in there, right? But it's not one superstar player. They're just playing better team football. They really are. You could see that last week against Southern Miss where you go, just all the way around this looks more sound at all 3 levels. And that's what you got. I don't know that they have any superstars, any first or second round pick type guys. And that's how Arizona State's defense was last year was we play harder than you and we are more sound than you. And in this game, it flipped, and that was Mississippi State's defense. And if they carry that moving forward, even if they don't have, any household names out here, they're going to be a lot better because the defense they couldn't get any stops last year. The defense was the reason they were so bad last year.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you mentioned it. Like Arizona State last year is built around the offense, obviously the offensive head coach, and same with Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. But if you have that defense performing like that, and you could win games with your defense, absolutely. That's a great call right there because at Mississippi State, I mean, that was a big turning point for them is getting that kind of defense because last year they had probably the worst defense in all of college football, or at least one of them last year too.